Welcome. This is our discussion that is an introduction to systems thinking. We're going to be covering about 8 key questions that helps you understand what a system is. We're going to focus on the diagram on the far side over here of the bathtub to have this systems discussion, and then we'll come back to this graph in the next video to help you understand how to measure these system activities. So let's start with question number 1. What is the name of your system? You're going to be doing an exercise on your own, looking at a system that interests you, and you're going to have to identify it. So in this case, it's fairly easy to identify that this is a bathtub system. Is this system human or natural? That's question number 2. If it's a human system, it defines its purposes in human context. If it's a natural system, then we describe those as functions. So since this is a human system, we know that this is a purpose-driven system that is focusing on the process of bathing or maybe even perhaps washing clothes when your washing machine breaks down. It can have different purposes, but generally the purposes are limited to the type of system that's available to us for its use. So the next question is, what are the components of the system? Well, let's review tangible and intangible components of system. So tangible components are generally physical. We have inflows, water coming into the system controlled by a valve. The spigot delivers the water into a volume of storage. We have an outlet pipe that takes water away from the system. We can plug it and we can store water here, or we can unplug it and allow water to drain out. We can also take notice of this emergency outlet for the system, which regulates water at this level. Another physical attribute of the system is the shape of the system. It has a rounded bottom, it has a fairly level top, and the system seems to be connected to other things that are not shown here, other physical components that we'll talk about in a few minutes. So let's also ask ourselves, what systems might this small system be connected to? Well, we know, since we have kind of an invisible line here that's connected to something over here, that this bathtub is probably connected to a house. It might be connected to a hotel room. It might be connected to a facility at a camp. And then that house or that facility is connected to a community and a city and a drinking water plant that allows water to come in and feed this larger system. In systems thinking, we typically do not show everything they're connected to so that we can focus on the individual system itself. Over here we have an outlet with another invisible line that is connected to a drain or a septic field or a sewer system of a city, and that sewer system runs into a wastewater treatment plant, and that wastewater treatment plant runs into a river or a lake or another water body. So we have systems that are connected but that are not shown so that we can focus on the primary system. Now, all of this is going to be really important to you as you begin analyzing ecological systems. These basic dynamics and questions will help you understand the complexity of the earth. So now let's start thinking in a little more detail about understanding how it behaves, and that requires a different set of questions. So the first question would be, what component jumps out at us first as we look at this system? And you have to kind of think in terms of how the human brain works. We tend to identify things that we're familiar with or that we're biased about or that we're interested in. And that may not be the actual component that has the most impact, but it's important to take an inventory. So to me, the first component that jumps out would be the faucet and the outlet. Most of the time, we won't even see the plumbing, and we'll definitely see the bathtub when we walk in. Maybe we'll see the bathtub first. And so those obvious components are the things that we tend to notice in nature as well, but sometimes it's those hidden components that we really need to see and understand that most drive the system. So then that brings us to the question of which components drive the purpose of this system. Well, in this case, without an inflow of water or without buckets of water being dumped into the bathtub, it's not going to have any water in it, right? Without an ability to plug the outlet and to have a stable bathtub, we're not going to be able to hold water in the tub. Without having a shape that's long enough for, say, someone tall, maybe only shorter people could take this bathtub. So the shape of the bathtub contributes significantly to its purpose as well. So the last question we want to ask about systems is what maintains its equilibrium and what maintains its sustainability. Well, in this case, equilibrium is dictated by plugging the outlet, having a high enough emergency outlet so that it's not too low in the bathtub to make the water too shallow to enjoy, having enough inflow or enough water pressure to keep the bathtub full and conveniently fillable when we need it, when we need to take a bath fast, and having a smooth surface can promote its use and its sustainability over time, and keeping it functional in terms of a healthy plumbing system and a healthy sewer system is what's going to enable this bathtub system to be available for years and years and years. All of these concepts are very, very important to helping you understand the complex attributes and functions of nature, and I hope you'll spend the time you need in your own exercise to get these basics down, because it'll make your understanding of Earth systems much more convenient and much simpler for you and sustainable in the future.